Hi everybody and welcome back to another Legends of Runeterra video and gameplay today. This is Drawn Blood 2.0. This is based on a deck that I created during the Rising Tides expansion with Twisted Fate and Draven. However, there have been a ton of new cards introduced into the game, kind of an overhaul really of the two regions since that time period, and a lot of changes too. That were made to the game, nerfs and buffs and that sort of thing. And so, yeah, I decided to kind of create a deck around the same sort of idea, but we took out quite a few cards. We've included a lot of new ones, and we're trying things a little bit different now. So, and see if we can get it to work. So this is, like I said, Twisted Fate Draven, and Twisted Fate typically, I mean, he fits into a lot of decks, but a lot of people don't think of Noxus as a typical deck that he normally will kind of, synergize with. But there are a couple of cards from Noxus that actually work pretty well with Twisted Fate, and that's kind of what we're using today. Now, I'm not saying that Twisted Fate, this is like a top tier Twisted Fate deck, but it is a different way to play him that a lot of people don't know about or haven't tried. So the card that I'm talking about specifically is the Arena Bookie. This card doesn't hardly get any use. The Arena Bookie, at the round start, discard your lowest card to draw one. So a little bit of synergy there in Noxus with Twisted Fate. So kind of building around this card and what I want to do with it, it discards cards. So kind of card creation is pretty cool. So that automatically includes Draven into this list just because he is producing spinning axes, which are excellent discard options that we can include into our deck. And there's a couple of other cards as well that are from Bilgewater that we can use to produce other cards. So we got Coral Creatures. They're creating 1-cost cards. And then we've got here at the end of the game, we've got the Wiggly Burblefish. And the Wiggly Burblefish, you're reducing its cost by 1 for each spell you've cast this game. And remember, we've got a lot of cheap spells in this deck, so not only do we have discard with the Arena Bookie, but we can also use those spells to reduce the cost of the Wiggly Burblefish, who is also producing 1-cost spells. And then, yeah, we've got Pilfered Goods and Black Market Merchant, who both have the potential to draw spells from our enemies and other discard cards that we don't necessarily need. So that's pretty cool as well. Really like that. Let's look, I've got 15 spells and 25 units. 15 spells really isn't a whole lot of spells inside a deck, especially one that you would automatically assume the Wiggly Burblefish is going to be in. But because we can create spells and create really cheap spells, it's actually not too hard to get this Wiggly Burblefish down to 2/1/0 mana in any time at all. We got a couple of other synergies with that as well, like the Noxian Guillotine. Kill a damage unit to create a fleeting Noxian Guillotine in hand. So I really like including this in Twisted Fate decks because of the red card. But then you get later on in the game, you can take out a whole bunch of units, and then you're using a whole lot of spells too, and that further reduces a Wiggly Burblefish. So we can kind of get a whole lot of use out of Noxian Guillotine and get a lot of spell usage to synergize with the Wiggly Burblefish. So that's pretty cool as well. And not only that, the Wiggly Burblefish is elusive, which synergizes well with Plunder and with Black Market Merchant and things like that. So kind of cool. What else are we including in this deck? We've got 1 Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth is kind of important right now just because of landmarks, especially Grand Plaza. We can use this to get rid of that, which is why I'm including that instead of, another Noxian Guillotine. And then we need pretty much everything else to level up Twisted Fate in this deck. So we've got Salvage to draw cards, we've got the Fortune Croaker to draw cards, Black Market Merchant, Pilfered Goods, and the Arena Bookie. So it's really not too hard to level up Twisted Fate. It's definitely not as efficient as other decks, but it's certainly not super hard to do. And then once he levels up, it's really hard for the enemy to deal with. And one other card that you might have noticed in this deck that we have is Hunt the Weak. This card doesn't get a lot of use, and there's good reason for that. It doesn't really work in a lot of decks and a lot of archetypes. I can kind of get it to work in this deck. We're just kind of testing it out at the moment either. This might not even remain in the deck, but your opponent discards the weakest follower from hand. I feel like this card gets better use later on in the game you go, where they have played a lot of their units, especially if they're a mid-range deck with not a lot of draw options. You can really punish enemies and discard really expensive units at the end of the game that they're trying to use to finish off the game. And the reason why I'm including it into this deck is because we don't have to use it early game. We can wait until we're drawing a lot of cards later on in the game. We're replenishing our hand, first of all. Yeah, we're replenishing our hand, but then we've got more mana to use later on in the game. We can punish mid-range decks pretty hard with this deck. And on top of that, we can discard it if we really need to with spinning axes and things as well, if it's not, you know, something that synergizes or counters or techs against a deck that we're going against. So this is pretty cool. And then at the end of the game as well, you can use it even if you don't get value out of this card per se, right? You're not like actually discarding, you still get information. So if you don't discard a card, then you know either they've got a champion in their hand or they've only got spells. So that's important information that you can actually use for 2 mana at the end of the game. So it's actually, I feel like, does get quite a bit of use in this deck and can actually help you win the game through information and through, you know, actually discarding a super expensive card. So it's pretty cool. I don't mind it in this deck. You definitely don't want it early on in your hand, but later on in the game, you know, it actually can be a very useful card. Let's see, anything else in this deck? I think that's about it. We're just trying to level up Twisted Fate. We get Draven out on turn 3, typically is what we want, and then we get the Arena Bookie to start discarding the axes and start drawing through our deck. So it's pretty fun. Definitely not an easy deck to play. Like I said, not top tier, but a fun way to play Noxus and Bilgewater together that don't get a lot of use. So if you enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks. We're going against Draven Darius. Buildovers on Noxus. Let's get rid of 1 Crimson Disciple and the Warning Shot, actually. Nox and Guillotine, Crimson Disciple, into Fortune Croaker. That's pretty good. See if he's got anything. This is going to be a burn deck, so... Or I thought it was. Usually they have a turn 1 play. Wow. Really? It's actually interesting because he gets value out of this card. No one ever uses this. Let's put down the Draven.
Watch and learn.
We're going to attack with both here because I've got the spinning axe.
Now we're cooking.
Got 1 mana. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything with it. And he doesn't get a lot of value out of that, so I think this is fine. Alright, turn 4. I don't know that he has anything.
It's Draven time. Well, hey there, good looking.
Let's just go for a red card, I think. We can take this unit out at the very least.
Who says I don't share?
Needs more testing.
God axes need victims.
It's fine. Alright, I think we can open attack here.
Let's boogie.
And we've got Noxus and Guillotine if he's got something tricky.
Fuse is lit. My selection speaks for itself.
Interesting.
Coming in hot.
We're going to use Hunt the Weak now. Okay, crowd favorite, 4 cost. Let's go like this. I've got a burst speed blocker here I can use.
Party's over. War is no game, brother. I don't change fate if I can see it.
4 of 8.
Axes coming right up. You pay first. Time for the moneymakers. Hey, buddy, what you doing?
Just want to make sure to kill the Darius here. And I think we can level up the Twisted Fate.
I've done way worse.
Man, I wish I could have gotten the 1. I think we go for it. Elixir of Wrath is pretty nice. Alright, man, I wish I had a... Alright, we're just going to attack with the Burble Fish here. I think this is good enough. That's a really good card.
Looks like I'm on a hot streak.
And our opponent surrenders. Alright, we got him. Yeah, it would have been hard for him to do anything there, because I would be, you know, damaging with the red card, pulling more cards. I had a stun if he had another Darius, so. We're going against Braum, Zoe, Aurelion Sol. Freljord, Targon. Kind of interesting. Let's see. Let's get rid of everything but the Black Market Merchant. Okay. And this is okay. I ended up drawing 2 Crimson Disciples here. Like matchups like these, I wish that I had Make It Rain. It's too bad that it was nerfed. Of course, everybody hated it, so maybe it's not awful. Alright, let's go ahead and put down Crimson Disciple here. That's annoying. That's a little better. I think we're gonna wait to play that though.
Let's do this.
That looks like a hush. I think we got a pass here.
We fight. This is fun, yes?
He doesn't attack with the Zoe. Wow, that's weird. Wow, do we just play this round? No, I think we get use out of Pilfer Goods. I don't have Twisted Fate, which sucks a little bit. Ooh, there's a hush. Come on, Twisted Fate. Give me Twisted Fate. Nice. A 1-cost hush as well. I think we just go for red card here. Try to kill this Zoe. Force him to use something as well. Nice. Astral protection. Wow, that's interesting. How does this work if I hush him? What does he go down to? 5? Let's go like this. Extra Draven. I think we can end the round. I don't know, like, if I hush him, does he go back down to 4?
I seal this by sword. We should be friends.
Come here, darling.
Got an axe with your name on it.
I think we can block like this because I got the Arena Bookie in a second Draven.
Draven down. Oh, would you look at these eyes?
Break the strong, slaughter the weak.
The party has arrived. Draven, my favorite client. How you been?
2 of 8.
Bookie's choice.
Nice. I honestly think we get rid of Augur of the old ones.
Now we're cooking.
You've been warned. That's nice too. I can kill this guy.
God axes need victims.
I wasn't strong enough.
That does stop the card draw. That kind of sucks. Let's go like this. We're gonna level up TF. Oh no, does this get rid of my burble fish? I guess I should have played that. Okay, we gotta play that one first. Yeah. Might get rid of my warning shot now. Okay, good.
Looks like I'm on a hot streak.
24 cards. Alright, so we are gonna stun the Braum.
Soak it in.
It doesn't really help at this point though. Okay. Which ones are fleeting here? These 3. Alright, so we go like this. Do we go like this? This is Twisted Fates. We're gonna reshuffle this card.
I'm a people person.
Okay, that's fine. Don't get really value out of it otherwise, so I think we're just gonna go like this and kill it.
Haley! Out with the old.
Whoa, that's a lot of cards.
Let's do this.
And I think we just open attack here.
Help is underway.
Let's spread out. Okay, so this is an automatic win.
Eyes open.
Unless he's got star shaping. But I think he would have used it. Yeah, I think he would have used it, so we're good. Alright, there we go, got the win. That was pretty cool. It gets a little bit muddled at the end with all those cards in hand, which makes it a little bit harder to play and harder to kind of sequence, but that was pretty cool. I enjoyed that.